What's up, guys? We are here with my good buddy and coworker and basketball savant, Adam Spencer, live from the West Coast. How you doing, man?
Doing good. Just watching late games, so they're not so late out here on the West Coast, which is pretty nice.
Don't even get me started on that. I live on the East Coast, and it's the single worst time zone imaginable. I feel like Central is like God's time, but there's nothing like waking up at 9 a.m. Okay, give me your opinion on this
It
because
it
this is
goes
actually a good debate.
it goes Mountain Time number one,
Okay.
Pacific Time number two, Central Time number three, East Coast number four. That's the definitive rankings. I've lived in all four time zones. Mountain Time is the best time zone for sports for sure.
That's kind of fair. All right. Yeah, I'll just tell you, there's just nothing worse than like coming home as a middle schooler and like it's 4:30 in the afternoon and it's already dark, like in New York when you're watching TRL. I was like, this is depressing. I hate this. Anyway, something that's not depressing, well, depending on which side you're on. Kentucky, a projected number one seed in Joe Lunardi's latest bracketology projections. They go on the road against Tennessee. Tennessee obviously coming on a 14-game winning streak. Kentucky not only loses, but loses badly, right? Tennessee's a great team. The question I have for you is we're a week from hearing that the SEC could possibly have two number one seeds. Can Kentucky still be a number one seed?
Absolutely. Kentucky has had some bad luck this year with injuries. TyTy Washington is a great player, but he's not as durable. Let's just put it that way. He's a little injury prone. They're like, yeah, hey, that's not a bad comparison there, Mr. Bama football. He's an elite player when he's out there, but like you can't keep saying, well, if we were at full strength, we'd win these games. TyTy was hurt against Auburn for a little bit. He was battling some issues against LSU. So, at some point you have to win with the team you have. Severe Wheeler, right. I mean, he's also a key player and he keeps slamming into screens. At this point, I'm convinced that he just doesn't listen when his teammates call out the screens rather than his teammates not calling out the screens, because they would have had to have learned by now with how hurt he's gotten on them. So, I just think, but like if you can't stay healthy, you have to win with who's on the court, and they're just a different team without TyTy. But if TyTy is on the court, SEC tournament, they're a threat to win it. If he's on the court in the NCAA tournament, they're a threat to go all the way still. Like, that's not debatable. They're a really, really solid team when he's on the floor. He spaces the court is the most important thing. He helps the other guys get open. We saw that against Tennessee. Tennessee has a great defense, and they just weren't getting. Kellen Grady wasn't getting open shots. Davion Mintz wasn't getting very many open looks, and that cost them.
Yeah, I mean, they would go for stretches where, like, I would look up and like most of my basketball intake is strictly from a gambling standpoint, right? And I'm still just grieving over the end of football season, but I'd like look up and it's like somewhat close game, and then next thing you know, Tennessee's up by 20, and again, like very tough place to play on the road, and I think the SEC is finally at a place where these kind of like losses are like it's I don't want to say they're on the level with the Big 12, but like they're understandable losses, right? Like it's not something that's going to look bad come tourney time. Not like, Florida losing to A&M or anything like that. Now, you talk about like the whole thing about having to be healthy. This kind of reminds me of like a couple of years ago. Was it PJ? What was the last name? PJ Williams? I'm probably off on this.
What team?
For Kentucky. Kentucky's like star player going in, like, I think
PJ
the 2018.
Washington.
PJ Washington. I was very close. Knew it was a W. No, but PJ Washington, like, finally, like he kind of was a guy everyone was looking to take over when they got to March. I love the fact, first off, that the guy's name is TyTy, because I feel like, saying like, well, we didn't have TyTy is like saying why you didn't win, like, I don't know, like a 600 girl soccer team. But they have the coaching, they have the depth and talent. What do you see as the biggest potential stumbling block besides health for Kentucky?
Yeah, I mean, Oscar Tshiebwe is a monster. I mean, he's gobbling up rebounds. He's putting up double doubles at an incredible rate. But I think that, they were exposed a little bit down in the post. I mean, he still had a double double against Tennessee. But Jonas Idu, I think is how you say Adu. He had a really good night. He blocked like 3 of Sheboy's shots. You know, he was pretty strong down there in the post.
Yeah.
And he's a guy who hadn't really played that much for Tennessee coming into the game. But like they kind of showed that if you throw some length at Sheboy, offensively his game becomes much tougher. I mean, he's still an absolute machine on the glass, but like if you limit his ability to impact the game on offense, then that's an issue for Kentucky. I think that also, you know, if they run into a team with some good perimeter defense, then that does make things harder for, because Severe Wheeler is not really a threat to, and that's an issue. You know, some of these elite teams, you know, you look at Auburn, Wendell Green, he's a threat to shoot from anywhere beyond half court.
Yeah.
You look at Arkansas, you have JD Note. He's a threat to shoot when he steps in the gym. You look at Gonzaga. They got Andrew Nimhard, who's a really good. He's developed as a shooter. You know, you just have Duke has a couple of guys who handle the ball who are good shooters. So, you know, Severe Wheeler's not that. TyTy Washington is that. So, you know, and Davion Mintz has that point guard experience, but he's more accepted his role as like a 3-point energy guy off the bench, which he's thriving in. But you know, that might be a weakness, is if they come up against a point guard who can, you know, which they did. You know, we saw Kennedy Chandler and Zakai Ziegler both really put together solid games.
First off, this is like an all-time year for names in the SEC. Like, I mean, everything sounds like either a screen name or just like a nickname. I absolutely love it. Okay, so looking at this, like in one other angle here, because like, you know, you brought up like when they play elite teams and immediately go to Auburn, right? Like, who does this league go through? Because I feel like we say this every year, and it may be a better instead of Tua, a better example might have been JT Daniels, and like the injury thing. But I feel like we say the same thing every year for Georgia in terms of like, you know, football. Is this year they're gonna get over the hump? And they finally do. Every year we watch Kentucky not really stumble, but kind of sleepwalk a little bit through like early in the season and then hit stride late in the year. Is this going to be another one of like, you know, like one of those jobs by Cal, or who do you think actually do you think Auburn is going to be able to come through and like everything will go through Auburn to get to the SEC or March Madness, or like a team like Arkansas? I've talked myself into a circle, so just get me out of it.
Well, I mean, and then you didn't mention Tennessee either. I mean,
the
way that they looked last or Tuesday night, you know, they were, man, I mean, I wouldn't want to face them in the tournament. I think we're setting up for a really, really good SEC tournament. I mean, I would still say that it goes through Auburn. You know, they've got the best overall player with the most potential in Jabari Smith. I think he can take over a game. I think you know, Walker Kessler is right there. He's doing like historic things with his blocks. You know, they have the confidence guys in Wendell Green, Katie Johnson, Alan Flanagan, Dylan Cardwell. You know, they have the depth overall to get the job done.
Real quick, I wanted to ask you this, like on the last 2 episodes that I've forgotten, and I do want to make it Kentucky based, but from a talent standpoint, depth standpoint, everything you just said, like the list of players you just said that are all like elite, I'm not comparing them to like the 2012 Kentucky team or that, you know, the team that went 39-1, but from a talent standpoint, like, is this one of the best teams we have seen the SEC in blank years?
I mean, 5 years. I think at least in the last 5 years, this is a really good team. I mean, Alabama was pretty deep last year. They, you know, Arkansas had a good run, but they weren't necessarily deep last year. But I mean, this Auburn team's better than both of those teams. I think I would be willing to bet. But you know, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, Kentucky. I mean, those are 4 really good teams that, like, if those 4 teams advance, and like there's no guarantee that they will, because LSU is still right there and Alabama is still right there. That's 6 really quality teams. So like, you don't want to be a 3 seed, you don't want to be a 4 seed, you want to be one of those top 2 seeds. And I think those are going to go to Auburn and Kentucky. And then, you know, you've got to, like, I don't know, it could be it's going to be a really, really good semifinals. and then the final could be an all-timer. I mean, I'm really excited for this year's SEC tournament, and Kentucky absolutely. If TyTy is on the court, I mean, they're right there, 1A alongside Auburn.
Kentucky don't lose a TyTy on the court. I think it's something we would all say. No, like I completely agree with you. The only downside of the tournament is that it's going to be in Tampa, and just like I don't own a pair of white Oakleys, so I'm not legally allowed in Tampa. But I agree with everything you said. It's almost like the basketball, like the standings, like those top 4 teams are got to be getting to the finish line, like, and just having a big, like sigh of relief, because getting that first round bye, especially in the tournament. Last question, and you got to make a bold prediction here. How far does Kentucky go? Not just in the SEC tournament, but in the NCAA tournament in March.
With the caveat that they're fully healthy.
TyTy's healthy.
Final 4.
Oh, okay.
They're that good. They're that good. I won't pick them beyond that because, I don't know. But Final 4. They're that good.
Okay.
I picked them for the Final 4 last year too, though. Here's a caveat. I picked them for the Final 4 last year too, and we saw how that played out. So.
Well, see, Adam, here's the thing. Like I said, you were a basketball savant, but like I think I've been writing this one pick I made 3 years ago when I said Auburn to make the Final 4 for no reason. I think I was trying to impress a girl that I didn't even like. So, listen, my Final 4 bold prediction: Auburn, Bama, Kentucky. I don't know. We'll say Gonzaga. I don't want to get all SEC.
Well,
anyway.
Every year that I pick Kentucky to go all the way and win it all, I've won my bracket pool, even if Kentucky didn't win it all those years. So maybe I'll do that to try to win some money at least.
Yeah. That's what, I'm kind of jealous of that. And I got kind of down because the only time I ever won a bracket pool was when I didn't turn in my girlfriend at the time's bracket, and she actually won the whole thing. So anyway, Adam, tell everyone where they can find you. Also, tell them about the newsletter and all that good stuff.
Yeah, bluechipgrit.com. You can sign up for our free newsletter. I mean, it's cranking right now. Down the stretch here, we're getting lots of subscribers, so get in on it while you can. At Adam Spencer 4 on Twitter and at SDS Basketball. We'll cover it all down the stretch.
Also, you can get in on it whenever. Like, we're not going to shut you out. So, but yeah, Blue Chip Grit. I'll let you get back to the games, man, and we'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good. See ya.